Hello everybody and welcome to another community fortress. This is the fortress of Divinepick. And this one was sent in a little bit ago on my Discord. I just wanted to apologize again for taking so long to get to some of these because there's a lot and I'm only trying to do one video a day. So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully we can get to your fortress soon if you do send one in. If you would like to send in one, I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end, but you can do that via my Discord down in the DF Save sharing room. Link is in the description of this video. So what I want to talk about now is the Fortress of Divinepick. This one was sent in by Mallicia. I might be butchering that, on the Discord, and they have some specific questions which I hope to be able to get to in this video. It's part of the Theater of Assemblies of the Sunken City, which I just want to say is one hell of a random name for a dwarven civ, because isn't the Sunken City just straight up like a Lovecraft story? I'm pretty sure it is. That's cool. Anyway, let's just take a peek at the fortress itself. First off, it's a seashore fort, which is both makes me sad, but also makes me super happy to see. Sea forts are one of my favorite forts in the game, or one of my favorite styles of fort in the game, but in this particular version has become one of my least favorite styles, and it's one of my favorite styles for this reason. Look at ASCII. See these waves? These giant crashing waves. You can see the ripples come up through. Even if you turn off the depth indicators, you can see the ripples come along through the edge and then crash against the shore. You can see the spray shoot up and fly around the edge of the constructions up at the top of the fortress and collapse up against the shore. It's one of my favorite parts of classic Dwarf Fortress, and it doesn't show up at all with the current tile set. You can see a little bit of the spray, but the actual swelling of the waves just looks like nothing, which I think is a massive disappointment. And I really, really hope that at some point it gets sorted. Right away, similar to the last fort, I'm noticing that there's a big old pile of bodies here. We definitely need a way of disposing these. I recommend either using a drawbridge as an atom smasher or some other method of disposing of those, because you do need to get rid of those. I've also noticed that traders will accept bodies as gifts for free. They don't pay you anything for them, but they do take them. So if you would like to get rid of a bunch of bodies, maybe just give them to the next trading caravan that shows up. Here we have a couple of patchy farms that seem to have some things planted in them and some things not planted in them. But they do have a few main questions, which I'm going to try and get to as we get through things. So the kind of first area that I want to look at is the lovely mist around this with all of these windmills on top, and then some farming areas down beneath. And then if you actually take a peek through, there is some water down here. Now, one of their questions is about fish. And if I hit Z, we can see that this whole area is a pen pasture zone, and this area right here is a fishing zone. And their question is, sometimes it'll say that dwarves can't catch fish, or that there's no fish available in the swamps. Now, there's something that I would like to check here. Underneath fishing. So if I go to standing orders, and then I think it's under other, prefer zones for fishing is the default here. So there's two things that might be happening here. One, fish show up in Dwarf Fortress seasonally. So there will be a lot of fish, and you can catch a whole bunch of fish at the beginning of the season. And then by the end of the season, there will be almost none left. So that is something that might be happening. There might just be nothing. And even if you're seeing sprites, the dwarves won't be able to catch anything because they still have to abide by that arbitrary mechanical rule. However, here it says dwarves prefer zones for fishing. Dwarves fish only in designated zones. What might also be happening here is if we fly, I don't know, to this puddle right here, the dwarves might be fishing in this puddle. And there might be lots of fish in the ocean, but they may be fishing in this puddle, or this puddle, instead. Because they will just go fish wherever they feel like, unless you open this menu up, you go to labor, standing orders, other, dwarves only fish in designated zones. So, like I said before, it may be an arbitrary mechanical rule, or it could just be that they're fishing in a puddle and not in the ocean. Now, next thing I just wanted to point out is this is very much a safety liability. Any zombie could just walk through this and climb up here. I would wall this off. This seems a bit dangerous to me, but you live your life, and if living your life dangerously is what you like to do, more power to you. Look at these adorable semi-wild stray red pandas and trained red pandas. That's adorable. We also have some beehives over there in the corner. I really need to do more bees. I'm too lazy to generally. I would put a retracting drawbridge over top of this personally. And then as we fly down through the fortress itself, we can see a bunch of ramps going into the fort. We have a, what's it called? A training zone here, as well as a long ballista arrow shot. So I'm kind of assuming that the idea here is enemies come down in through here, hence all of the rotten stalker goblins over here in the corner. I'm sure they're friendly, right? I'm sure they're Actually, are these visitors or are these invaders? Oh yeah, they're friendly. Look at that. They're all friendly. Those are the best kinds of things. Although there is an undead goblin head up here in the tree, so be wary. It might bite your ankle. We're going to jump back down here, and then I would like to note that this pretty effective method of murdering things, although I would expect the drawbridges to actually do more damage than the ballista arrow itself. I'd be curious to know how effective this setup is. I don't generally mess with this kind of siege equipment too much. I'm much more of a screw it, dump lava on their heads kind of person. But you know, you do you. And I'm not gonna kind of run through how this entire setup works. I personally would just fill this up with a whole bunch of cage traps, or alternatively just throw rocks at them or hit them with minecarts or something, because I find ballistas to be like annoyingly ineffective, but I'm curious to know how well that's working. In the last video, I do talk about if you want optimal frame rate out of a setup like this, do leave the walls in. Don't dig out the square like that. I know it kind of looks weird, but part of the reason why this setup is optimal for frame rate is it also blocks line of sight so that they don't see each other, so they're essentially not saying hi as they run by. So just kind of a tip there. Of course, like, it still gives you the pathing benefits, but if you want the line of sight benefits as well, you do want to remove that. Another one of their questions is they were wondering why the mist generator was running out of water. Let me grab the exact wording. Why is water level so low at the end of the mist generator? Drain river. Is it draining too fast, or is it evaporating itself? So if we scroll down to the drain river, and look at the depth of this as it drains down. Why is it so low at the end of the drain river? Just at a glance, it's not going... So water doesn't evaporate until it's only 1 deep. Okay? That's what you need to know. Water only evaporates when it's 1 deep. And having a look at this, you've harnessed a aquifer here, which I'm assuming is a light aquifer. I could be mistaken here, but this looks like a light aquifer. There's not actually that much flow going into this. This is actually evaporating up at the top as quickly as it's like flowing down, right? And then as it goes down through these layers, it's losing more and more and more and more. This isn't filling that quickly. Like you're going to be getting a decent amount of water flow through this, but not a huge amount for one thing. So there's not actually that much water coming through this whole setup. Also, this here is glorious. I love these stairwells with the mist generators attached. But then in the drain river, if I, and then like you're trying to use the water wheels down at the bottom here. So 2 things I want to say about water wheels. The way water wheels work is they need to be 1 layer above the water. So if you were to connect the water wheels on this layer right here, just kind of connect a thingy to it, and then throw the, where is it? Water wheel onto the side here. This would work right here, just fine. These are never going to work. You do not put the water wheels in the water. You put them 1 layer above the water, because the idea is the lower half of the water wheel moves down onto this Z level, even though you don't see it, and the upper half stays on this Z level. So if your question is trying to make the water wheels turn, you've got it on the wrong layer to begin with. But because this was sent in so long ago, I'm assuming that you've probably already figured this out. But that's kind of the issue with this setup, if that's the question. Otherwise, my assumption is it's just draining fast enough. But these are never going to work. Although, what ideally you want is you want it to be like 6 of 7 or 5 of 7 flowing off the edge of the map, all the way down to about 3. You'll still get pulls. So you could actually like double up these from about starting from about here all the way to about here, I would guess. Yeah, all the way to about here, you could set up power. So that's quite a good amount of power. And because each of, I think they generate 100 per water wheel, you could generate quite a lot of power in this setup. Solid setup as far as I'm concerned. Although if the whole thing has flow, which I'm not sure if it does, you may actually be able to get it all the way along even. That's a really good setup if you just, put them on the right layer. So now as we go up, we can see the actual entryway to the fort itself. Let's just make sure I'm not missing anything. I don't think I am. Here's the actual entryway to the fort itself. We have a barracks right here, which the military train in. I'm sure that they adore that. being blissful near a waterfall. And then here we have a lovely, lovely tavern, as well as, ooh, I always want to do this and I never get around to it. Just a really cool set of pedestals with like artifacts from the fort and shit. That's super cool. Big fan. And then something sus. Oh. I get it. Can't escape them. Always sus. I do like these symbols in these in these guild halls, and are they all guild halls? Yeah, they're all guild halls. So why is this one sus? It's a Stoneworkers Guild? Avalanche of Bronze? Doesn't seem that sus. Anyway, we got ourselves obviously the Full Bear, a tavern. It's a good tavern name. And then some massive stockpiles with much in the way of industry going on down here. I'm not sure what this room over here is for. Maybe they're flooding it, or something for. What is happening here? Hold on. What is even happening here? Okay, so there's another aquifer that's channeled here. But then how did this water get up here? Is this the aquifer on the edge? It must be. Yeah, that must be like the edge of an aquifer or something. Huh. It's kind of a neat thing. And then I guess, yeah, and then this would be more aquifer down here, which they're maybe just filling. It seems to be flowing down into here. Perplexed by that whole setup. Not sure what that's intended for. I'm sure there's probably a greater plan for it, though. As we move down, we can see a bedroom layer, nicely planned out. Very similar bedrooms. Probably used a macro or something of the sort. Looks like there's more aquifer pinned into this. Wow, this is quite the deep aquifer. The aquifers are quite insane in this version of the game, I gotta be honest. Some tombs, as well as many body parts and a ton of wood. I'm sure the elves love you. A little bit further down, we've got rocks and boulders. As we move down and move down and move down and move down, we've got, obviously, the drainage there. And then we can just continue scrolling down a little bit and see what we encounter. Cool fort. You know, like, the goal of this series is to kind of, you know, give advice where possible and if possible, and also, then alternatively just show off cool forts, right? Of course, you know, people like watching cool forts. I like giving advice on these, and I really hope to get around to all of them that have been submitted, or at the very least the ones that have screenshots. And then we can go all the way down here, and there's a second farming layer with a little bit more farming on, and then I got a couple more questions I would like to answer. So we have this huge set of stuff that's been mined out, and then, well, some hidden fun stuff, of course. And clowns, accurate. I gotta say, accurate. It's a trip to hell. Maybe I should dig through it. Nah. If you want, you can download this save file and do it yourself. The next question that they have here is the mountain home entirely random? Okay, so let me tell you this. I can tell you how random the mountain home is. So if I jump to the fort and I go to civilizations, we take a look at our civilizations. Imports. That's how much you've paid in imports. Offerings. You've given them no offerings. You should try giving them some gifts. When you trade, there is an option that says offer items. I can't remember exactly what the number threshold is, but at the very least in older versions of the game, you always had to give about, I think it was like between 5,000 and 10,000 value before they start caring about you as a member of like the mountain home, right? And if I jump in here and take a look here, we do have a duchy, right? So at this point, what you want to do is just shower them in gifts. Shower them in gifts. Shower them in gifts. And the leader will eventually notice and decide to move in. Thank you very much for watching this video. I love these ocean forts, and I love this series, and I'm so happy that people continue to send in stuff. If you would like to send in a save for me to have a peek at on this show, I recommend doing that via my Discord, and the easiest way to do that is simply grab the save of your choice from the local saves folder, give it a zip, and then upload it to a file sharing service of your choice, either Dwarf Fortress File Depot, or alternatively, just upload it directly if you have enough space on the Discord, and leave a little pitch saying why I should have a look at your particular fort, ask some questions if you'd like, and I will try and get to it as soon as I can. I try and do one video of these a day, and I've missed a couple of days, but at some point soon here, I think I'm just going to do a stream where I just record like 50 of these in a day, because I think that would be a bit of fun and people have been showing interest. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.